Okay, I'm back. The dogs had to go out. Okay, so I've got my flour ready. My oil is gently heating. I have it on about a high thing, but it's going to gently come up to temperature. So to our flour mixture, we're going to add a generous helping of Lawry seasoned salt, and I'm going to add, because we want our chicken to be flavorful, I'm going to add actually I'm going to add about 2.5. And I will show you what this looks like. And to this, I'm also going to put a good dollop of pepper. So your mixture should look like this. Now, always keep one hand in wet, one hand in dry. That goes for anything. I'm just taking our dry and I'm mixing it. And you want to give it a good mixture with your hands. Always use clean hands when doing this. And sometimes when you look at it, might need just a little bit more seasoning and a little bit more pepper. Now it's hard to see. I was rewatching Julia Childs and Leah Chase's video. It was filmed in the early 90s. I found out it was filmed, I think, in 94. Out of Julia Child's Cambridge, Massachusetts home. Now her Cambridge, Massachusetts home's kitchen is no longer there. It was willed when Julia Childs died. The Smithsonian Institute of Natural TV History got her entire kitchen, including all of her pots and pans. The one fascinating thing about Julia Childs, and like I said, we're going to do videos using some of her recipes later on. Sorry, that wasn't is Julia Childs was not a small woman. And when I say not a small woman, Julia Childs was incredibly tall. She was almost 6'1". I think she was 5'11". She was a very, very tall woman. And all of her kitchen cabinets and countertops, her husband Paul designed for her height. So they're a lot taller than what you would find in an ordinary everyday kitchen. I'm just looking. My oil is getting up to 180 degrees, which is fine. You just want to kind of watch it, and I'm going to kind of bring you guys over. You see how there's two different colors? That's just going to slowly come up to a thing. When it gets up to the temperature, you're going to back off a little bit, and that's when you can fry the chicken. Now, I have my flour all prepared. I have my chicken sitting in the bowl. And again, you're going to do one hand wet, one hand dry. And it helps if you have rings at this part to take your rings off, because they are going to get very, very gunky. And I have one dog that was eating that might want to go out, so I'm going to go off camera. Oh, actually, I'm going to turn you guys. You want to go out, honey? Yeah, my little fur babies are down here. What you also want to do is, if you do have dogs, make sure that they're not around this area if you're frying, especially if you're doing it on the stovetop, so that the oil doesn't come back and splatter them. You don't want your four-legged critters to get injured. So what I'm going to do, if this ring doesn't want to come off today. So what I'm going to do is, my right hand is going to be in the wet and my dry hand is going to be in the dry. And I've got a ways to go. My oil is only at 250 degrees. So, and I need it to be at 350 degrees. So we're just going to give it a few minutes. What you can go ahead and do is put your chicken, take your chicken, make sure your chicken drains. I don't know if you guys can see all the liquid coming off of it. I can, so you guys can. Is you just want to put your chicken in the flour mixture. And when you have a deep pot or a big pot, you can pretty much do an entire chicken. I'm going to try to do this, but I may be cramming my chicken in here. I'm just going to finish doing this, and I've got couple more pieces. Yeah, this is not, I don't have quite a long enough hands. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rinse my hand for a second. And my oil is 200 degrees right now, so it still needs a little bit of time to come up to temperature. In the meantime, I'm going to put my oil back in. And you might notice that my oil is not refrigerated. Well, oil does not need to be refrigerated when you buy it. It can sit out as long as it's nice and covered, especially if it's a liquid oil or shortening. If it's a lard, you don't need to do anything to lard refrigerate-wise until you open it. Once it's open, then you need to put it into the refrigerator. Lard, again, is fat, so you definitely want to make sure lard is always kept refrigerated. So, let's see, I was one hand liquid, one hand dry. So what I'm doing is I'm just taking my flour, and what we're going to do is we're just going to cover our pieces. Basically the same thing that you did for the breaded meat recipe. The only difference is you're using flour versus breadcrumbs. Because fried chicken, got this piece, that's my breast. Yeah, and you just wanna cover your chicken pieces. Make sure your wings are nice and done, and your breast. You can even put these on a plate if you need to. And there's nothing like having good fried chicken, whether it be warm or cold. You can make cold chicken, eat chicken when it's cold. You can eat it when it's hot. I'm making it a little early, so it might be a little bit cold. When you're done with the mixture, unless you have more chicken that needs to go in, throw the mixture out, because you're not going to reuse it. Same with the flour. You're not going to reuse the flour. Oh, and this is a very big chicken breast, or wing. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and you can see how dirty my hands are. That's why you always keep one hand in wet and one hand in dry. And I'm just going to give my hands a quick scrub. And as we wait for the oil to come up to temperature, my oil is at 275. So now with your egg and condensed milk that I put over there, you're going to get rid of that. You're not going to reuse it. You can't keep it, and it's not good for anything. So when you fry chicken, you can fry all the pieces all at once, or as many as you can get. This is a pretty big pot, so I can do that. Chicken takes about 15 to 20 minutes. And you want to make sure it goes 15 to 20 minutes. If your chicken starts to look like it's burning and getting really dark, what you can do is set your oven for 350 degrees. After it's fried, pop it in there for 10 minutes or so just to kill everything. But 350 degrees is what you want to shoot for, and the reason being is that's the temperature that kills bacteria. Anything lower, and you're going to take a chance of getting somebody sick. So our oil is at 300. It just needs to go another 50 degrees, and then we'll be ready to fry some chicken. Now again, you're going to want some good tongs for this because you're going to have to move your chicken. When the chicken's done, the wings are going to be the first thing that's done, though you're going to float towards the top of the surface. And usually about 12 to 15 minutes, they're usually done. And my oil is almost at 350 degrees. It's just over 300 degrees. We're going to give it another couple of minutes. I'm going to be right back, and I'll show you how we fry the chicken.